here with our 8th installment of Inside the Lair, a look into former BMCC athletes and staff. And I'm joined by one of the toughest 6 men that BMCC men's basketball ever had. He was a pain and also knocked down crucial shots to help BMCC win the 2018 CUNYAC Community College Championship against Kingsborough. Anthony McClean. Anthony, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Anthony, I interviewed Karan. I've interviewed a lot of athletes. Many reasons why they chose BMCC, the location, financially it worked, the coaching staff. What is your reason for choosing BMCC?
Well, my reason for choosing BMCC was kind of unique for the simple fact that they were the only school who really wanted me. And when I went on my visit, they showed me what a family atmosphere was really supposed to look like for a college team. So they welcomed me with open arms, and I got very cool with a couple of the guys on the team. And I was only in high school at the time. I was still a senior when they were recruiting me. So that just feeling wanted was the main reason why I chose BMCC.
8th installment here of Inside the Lair, alongside Anthony McClean, part of that 2018 championship team where BMCC helped them defeat Kingsborough, and a tough practice player and a hard-nosed 6th man. We'll get into more of that later because I talked to both of your teammates on that team, 2 of them, and they mentioned that to me. You come in the beginning of the Tommy Guerin era. First season, guys go 13-13. You were really playing well. I mean, you really became an everyday starter. I want you to talk to how you got to that point. You led the team in shooting from 3 at 44.4%. And then obviously in the semis, you put up 18 points. You finished really strong. And it seemed like this team really started strong, 6 of your first 7, but obviously there were struggles down the stretch. Terrell Fullerton was great conference rookie of the year at 23.2 points per game. You had Jason Meha, who could shoot threes. The first season of trying to get a winning culture together. And while you had a talented bunch, it didn't exactly work out the way you wanted to. But what did you learn from that season that helped you to such a successful season the following year?
I'll be honest with you, the main thing that I got from my freshman year had to be how to deal with adversity, because my team, we were always counted out. We were the underdogs. Everybody looked at us like, it's an easy win against BMCC today, but we just played with so much heart and so much intensity, and it just led us to be the successful team that we were. We didn't win the championship, but we got there even when they said we couldn't. So it was adversity. Adversity, honestly, it taught us how to deal with each other.
Here with our 8th installment of Inside the Lair with former BMCC men's basketball player Anthony McClean. Also a little sweetener, and we'll talk about it later. The conference tournament MVP when he went to the 4-year at Brooklyn College, giving them a CUNY title for the first time in 4 seasons. We're happy to have him with us. You go into your sophomore year, and obviously something really changes. 21 wins, perfect conference record at 8-0. This is going to be in 3 parts. Here's the first part. Terrell Fullerton and you return. Terrell obviously averaging 23.2 points per game. He was the conference rookie of the year. You finished the season, as I said, a starter, leading the team in 3-point shooting. And man, did you get an injection of talent. You went from really being known. Here comes the all-time leading scorer in this recruiting class, and only 1,000-point scorer in Karan Dublin. Curtis Smith comes in, a talented player from Thomas Jefferson High School. Alou Cisse comes in. And this recruiting class really energized this program instantly. Talk about what they brought.
They brought the family culture, honestly, which is why I chose BMCC to begin with. We built that foundation from day one, from the time that Coach G told us, hey guys, this is who we're recruiting. This is who's coming into the school. Being that I went to the championship before with my team the prior year, I made it my duty to make everybody close. Like, we were going out after practice, even if it was to BBQs, IHOP, we were taking a train together. Whoever lived in Brooklyn, we took the train with each other, and it was just more of the off-the-court stuff that led to the on-the-court things, because on the court, we trusted each other because we trusted each other off the court. So that's what most teams don't do, and I feel like that's what we did best at BMCC, because up till today, everybody that you mentioned, I still speak to them. So the family culture is what really brought us to the top.
Now, as we look back at this, a lot of accomplishments. You guys made your name not only in the CUNY, but also nationally, in the country. You were in the top 10 in 5 statistical categories: field goal shooting, 3-point shooting, scoring, and why not? 6 100-point games, 120 points was your season best against the Bronx. When I had a chance to really talk to teammate Karan Dublin about it, he just started laughing because you just roll off the names. I mean,
Yeah.
you just filled it up every night. Talk about the ability to just have scoring like that.
It was only comfortable because we practiced that way. So in practice, we'll go nonstop, like to the point where sometimes we're going above the practice limit, and Coach G has to stop us. Like, whoa, it's 6:05, guys. Like, we have to get out of here. I have to go home. But the intensity that we brought in practice, it just rolled over to the games, which made it so much easier because I was a starting point guard at the time. I made it my duty to learn where Karan wanted the ball, where Curtis wanted the ball, where Ray Bond wanted the ball, where Victor wanted the ball. So I knew where their hot spots were. Like Lawrence and our pick and rolls were deadly. I knew if Lawrence was setting the screen for me, I'm diming him right away because he's gonna go up strong, either get fouled or he's gonna make the bucket. With Karan, I knew he was honestly, I'm a great shooter myself, but Karan, as far as teammates that I've had, Karan has to be the most efficient shooter that I've played with. So I knew his spots. I knew when he didn't want the ball. As far as Curtis' game speaks for himself, honestly. Curtis was our engine. Like he was the person where you'll look up at the scoreboard, he'll have 20 and you'll be like, whoa, what? I didn't even know you took that many shots for you to hit 20 points already. And it just goes down the list, honestly. Everybody we just worked so well together.
You look at the scoring offensively, you were loaded. Again, Karan Dublin, he was back-to-back CUNY Player of the Year in the community colleges, which you don't see that many times often. I mean, that really just shows you what happens. You talk about an efficient player.
About Karan, and this is what a lot of people don't understand about Q, right? I call him Q. The stuff that he did during the season only happened because of the way he practiced. So Q would be in the gym after practice is done, putting up 1,000 shots. And I know a lot of people may think, oh, he's just saying that, but Q really puts up 1,000 shots after practice. It doesn't matter if his body is tired. It doesn't matter if he's not feeling well that day, but he was really putting up 1,000 shots a day. And the reason I can say that is because I was with him. Some of the times I'm rebounding for him or I'm shooting the shots with him. So if him getting CUNYAC Player of the Year back to back, it was the given, honestly. I just feel like the type of player that I was for our team, like every team needs that because I was really a team first type of guy. Like I made sure my teammates were good before I was good. I made sure that we were all clicking with one another. If somebody's down during the game, I make sure I help pick them up because when I was feeling down, they picked me up as well because they know I got their back at the end of the day. So that's what really made us so tough. Like 100 points, sometimes we didn't even know. We'll see at the end of the game, like, oh, wow, you had 20, I had 22 as well. Like, it's just crazy.
As we're here with our 8th installment of Inside the Lair with 2018 Community College men's basketball champion from the CUNY, Anthony McClean. Now, Anthony, obviously we always talk about the offense, but you had great rebounding. You mentioned Lawrence Todman. He was second that year with 189 total, 7.6 per game. But you had Victor Kovacevic, another CUNY all-star, fourth in all-time leading rebounds with 460 for his career. Although when it came to that championship game, he showed off scoring-wise. He got off to a hot start in addition to doing it on the glass. Talk about that.
I love Victor. Like, he's not even a friend to me. Like, he's really a brother. That goes for everybody else on the team as well. But I remember Victor coming off the plane, applying to our school, and I looked at him. I'm like, wow, bro, you're tall. You're tall. But the championship game, Victor's mindset coming into the game, honestly, was different. Like, it was totally different. Like, he was always locked in before games, but that game in particular, and Coach Mike can vouch for me with this one, Victor's mind was just, he was so locked in. Like, I don't think he said a word that day, honestly. Like, not even in the locker room, not during warm-ups, because usually Victor's the type, he likes to joke around a little bit. Like, he's our energizer. Like, he's the person that if you're sad, he's going to make you happy, you know? But that day, I'm like, yo, Victor, you good? He's like, I'm good, bro. I'm ready. And it just showed that game. I was on the bench one time. I'm just looking. I'm like, wow. I looked at coach. I'm like, I want whatever he ate this morning because Victor, he's a hard worker as well. Hard worker, hard worker. So nothing was really surprising at the end of the day. Like I knew he had that in him, but it was just a beauty to just see it happen in front of me.
Part of being a championship team too, Anthony, is about having that guy who's that key leader to bring everyone together. You really were that person. I spoke with Karan about that. That's what he said. You also need role players. You mentioned Rayvon Fleming, but Mark Morgan is a player that I had a chance to really talk to Karan about. He said Anthony McClean would pound me in practice, and I would tell him stop, stop. But he said so did Mark Morgan. He was another crucial role player alongside Rayvon that really was helpful to you guys.
Mark Morgan, oh man, I just finished speaking to Mark as well too. Mark Mark reminds me of myself, honestly. You know, like nothing was ever given to us. We always worked hard for what we have. And because at the end goal, we know we worked for it, you know, like it wasn't just handed to us. And Mark was going through a lot his freshman year off the court. And like you can tell sometimes on the court that it was bothering him. But I wanted to be that bigger brother to him because he was really like he's really a good kid, kind hearted, super intelligent, and the way he plays the game of basketball. Like I tell him every time, him, Q, and Rel. Like, bro, I steal at least two of y'all moves every day. Like I watch you guys and I try to take your moves to put it inside of my game because you guys, the way you guys handle the ball, the way your IQ, like I'm learning from you guys every day. And Q can tell you as well. I feel like the reason Q got player of the year as well is because we pushed him. Like we never let him talk down on himself. We never let him say, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that." Like he said, we were always on him in practice. Like I don't care if the drills stop, I'm still on Q. Like I'm making sure I hit him harder because he's gonna get hit 10 times harder in the game, you know. And as far as Mark, Mark is honestly one of the most hard working players that I've ever played with because day in, day out, it doesn't matter. Once again, if he's tired, he doesn't feel well, he's going to come into practice and play 100% every single night. Every single night. Mark was definitely a big piece in our championship run, like a really big piece because he'll come off the bench and score 10 points in like 2 minutes, like it was nothing. I wish we had another run with each other, but that BMCC team is legendary.
Here on our eighth installment with Anthony McClean of Inside the Lair. You get to the final the previous year, you fall to LaGuardia, but your team comes out firing in that 2018 championship game. However, Kingsborough didn't give up. It was a really tough second half. As Tommy Guerin was interviewed, he said, I would have not liked it to be as interesting as it was in the second half. He said in the post-game interview, I will never forget, as I've cut highlights here for a lot of these segments, I'll remember the three-pointer you knocked down to really ice that game and the emotion, the way the people stood up in the stands. Talk about the emotions of that game, from the crowd to finishing to getting that championship.
It's funny you bring that up because that story has a lot more meaning to it than it may seem. As you know, I was starting. I believe I got into foul trouble where it had Coach D sub me out for a long period of time. And I was on the bench. Usually I'll be upset. And like back then I'll be upset. I'm like, why am I not in the game? Like I want to be in the game. I want to help my team. It was always because of that. It was never, oh, I feel like I can do this better than this guy. Like I just wanted to help my team win, honestly. Coach Mike, my big brother, my mentor, he was our assistant coach at the time. I looked at him because Mike knew me the best. Mike knew when I was upset. He was legit my big brother to me. He looked at me. I looked at him. I just pouted. It's like, I believe 3 minutes left in the game. He looked, he said, yo, your time is coming. Just be ready. When you're open, take that shot. It was like a movie scene, Mr. Kelly. Like, it was crazy. I looked at him. I said, you know what? All right, cool. Coach D calls me 30 seconds later. Yo, Ant, go in. And then that's what happened. I looked at Q because me and Q had like this connection where we didn't even need to call the play. He would just look at me. I knew where to go. He gave me the look because we ran a play. We ran a certain play, but I saw that Kingsborough was cheating it. The offside defender wasn't paying attention. So I looked at Q. I ran behind him to the corner. Q passed it. I shot it and went in. And then it just speaks for itself after that. Everybody went crazy. My emotions were high because I can say that was the first time where I didn't let my emotions get the best of me when I was sitting down. And it just felt so good because look what happened. I stayed ready. The ball came to me. I shot it. And I knew it was going in, honestly. Because all I was saying in my head is if I get this ball, I'm shooting it, and I know it's going in. Everything was perfect. The form, the release, the follow through, and when I saw it go through the net, I'm like, yeah, there it is.
You also mentioned just your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That championship game, you were all over that from your hug with Coach Guerin and assistant coach Mike. So we're joined here at our 8th installment of Inside the Lair. Anthony, so you move on to a 4-year school, Brooklyn. Listen, CUNY, good conference. I mean, we know about the power that John Jay's become under head coach Ryan Highland over the last couple of years. And Baruch's always a challenge. You really just succeeded so quickly. It was just unbelievable. I was preparing for this, looking at everything. I mean, you know, you average 14.8 per game your first year there. Okay. The following year, obviously, you're the leading scorer, 342 points, 11.8 points per game. It just was an easy transition, it seemed. Why so?
Just to start off by saying Brooklyn College was the best decision that I've made in my grown-up years because they welcomed me with open arms, but they gave me a different role to play. At Brooklyn College, my coach Jeff, he came up to me during our semifinals game against Queensboro, and he's basically like, yo, we want you here. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, we want you here, but we want you here to be effective, and we want you here for you to grow as a man. And once he said that, that line right there just got me. I'm like, you know what? I spoke to Coach G. I'm like, how do you feel about this? Coach G said, hey, man, I used to play there. It's great. This, that, and the third. I'm like, you know what? Cool. I went, and then, honestly, what made my transition so easy is the fact that I played with people like Terrell Fullerton. I played with people like Karan Dublin. I played with people like Curtis Smith, Lawrence Todman, Victor, Mark, Devin Barrios. Like, I played with so many studs. I just had to bring everything that I've learned from BMCC, being that I was a champion at the time, and just bring it to my school at Brooklyn College. And I was lucky enough to have great teammates at Brooklyn College where I've built a brotherhood as well. Like, the same way I speak to my BMCC teammates is the same way I speak to my Brooklyn College teammates. And I just had a different fire in me because I was the main option. I was the number one option on the team at the time. And my teammates, they didn't hate. They weren't jealous. They were working with me. So it just made that so much easier because a lot of people don't understand when you have a team that's really close with each other, it makes the game so much easier. So I was able to score 342 points because I've had teammates who were willing to pass me the ball, or the days that I was off, to pat me on my back and say, Ant, keep shooting, you got this. So without them, that transition wouldn't have been easy at all. And I had a great coaching staff. If I could put my BMCC coaching staff and my Brooklyn College coaching staff together, it's like the USA team, honestly. I'm not even trying to sound cliche or sound, but Coach Jeff, big brother to me now, big brother. Like, he's pulled me out of so many negative situations, and he honestly saved my life because I could have went down the wrong road, but he always kept me on the right track.
During your final season at Brooklyn College, 2019-2020 season, you guys go into this top preseason pick in the CUNY. Although the season starts off slow, you said to me, guys, don't have many wins to the first 10-plus games. Yeah. You would struggle scoring. And however, this is what college basketball is about. Yeah. 13 and 16 overall this season, but the conference tournament, there's nothing better than drama. You knock out Hunter in the first round, get to the semis, knock out top-seeded John Jay. A lot of people around the region, at least this area, were talking about them really, as a perennial power. You knock out Ryan Highland's Greyhound squad, and then you get revenge. You knock out Baruch, win the program's 5th overall conference title, first in 4 seasons. And very similar to that community college championship, you close the door on Baruch. You get 4 points there down the stretch to help knock them off. You're also the tournament MVP. Talk about that experience.
Well, that experience was honestly one of the most memorable things that I can remember as far as me playing collegiate basketball. The reason for that is because nobody on my team ever won a championship. So I wanted to bring that type of atmosphere to Brooklyn College. I've only won one championship prior to the Brooklyn College championship, which was at BMCC. So I knew that feeling of winning my first championship, and I just wanted to bring that to them. And I've preached it from day one, from when I committed to Brooklyn College. Like, listen, guys, we're gonna win a championship. I'm gonna do whatever it takes in order for us to win this championship. I don't care if I have to give my blood, sweat, and tears to this, but all of us in this gym, we're gonna have that banner up. We started off really slow in the first half of the season, senior year. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand. We were projected number one preseason. I was shooting 19% from the three. It was terrible. And then I remember one day I called my coach. It was around Christmas time last year. I called him. I'm like, Coach, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what? I'm confused. He's like, listen, Ant, you gotta understand. You came into CUNY, nobody really knew about you. Coming in, you had a drastic change where you became a pass first point guard, but then you transitioned to a dominant scorer. And I was coming off the bench my first year at Brooklyn College. Like, I was a six man as well. So he said they learned my game. Everybody had a scouting report ready for me, and I wasn't ready for that coming into my senior year. I'm thinking it was going to be the same. Oh, I could dribble right, score whenever I want. But anytime I dribbled right, I had two people waiting for me at the rim. So it was something I just had to adjust to. And I took that break from, because we usually have a month off from school in January, like from the Christmas break to January. So I took that whole month, just practiced, made sure I was in the gym, watching film. Film is essential. So any young hooper watching this right now, understand that film is really 50% of basketball, honestly, because without film, you will not know what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. And my coach was the type, he never let me watch my good games. He always showed me the bad games that I've had. So just watching that was like, all right, now I know not to make that mistake again. So fast forwarding to the chip now, because we beat Hunter the first round, which was a really hard game because they were beating us at first. Then we beat John Jay. John Jay had to be the game of the year. I've never heard a gym that loud before, and it was just crazy. The atmosphere was crazy, and John Jay is a really good basketball team. Then the chip game, I can actually walk you guys through this whole game, like the whole day, honestly. So we were in school, we were getting ready to get on the bus, and once again, my team was just so locked in, like so locked in. Like I've never seen us that locked in before. Like everybody had their headphones in. Nobody was joking around. Everybody was on their phone, watching film, watching videos, whatever the case may be. We got on the bus. The bus took, usually it takes like an hour and a half to get to York from our school on the bus. It only took 30 minutes. So it was like, wow, we got there in time to watch the girls' game. So we were all sitting at the girls' game, just watching them play, whatever the case may be. We saw them win. The first time we actually get to watch a whole women's game. So we saw that. We went into the locker room, and then it was just silent. Like it was just silent. Everybody was just putting their clothes on, getting their mind right. One person had the speaker. Jordan is the loudest player on our team. All right, loudest player. He's playing music, but he's quiet. And it was just like, wow, everybody's really locked in. Coach came in. He gave his speech, and it was just. I don't want to say it was awkward, but it was really like a movie scene. Like he just looked at us at the end. He usually will come in, all right, family. He just looked at us. We looked at him, and that was it. Like we went in our huddle. I brought us together before we went upstairs. I'm like, yo, listen, y'all. This is what we've been working for this entire year. That 1-10 start. Coach always preached us like, yo, we're still gonna win the championship. We made sure that we worked hard every single day in practice for this moment right here. Some of the guys got a little teary-eyed because we know we worked for this moment the whole entire season, even when people counted us out. So we walked up the steps, and I've never seen that many fans before. Like I'm talking about both sides. It felt like I was in a like an arena, like on national TV, and I had to keep my guys composed because we've never had that type of atmosphere. Being that we were a CUNY team, you know. So I kept everybody composed. I kept everybody level-headed. We went on a 10-0 run to start the game. Baruch didn't give up though. They kept fighting. They kept fighting. And then I want to say, fast forward to the second half, Ryan Smart, I believe that's his name from Baruch. He used to play at Suffolk County. I've never beat him in a basketball game before. Like they beat us when I was at BMCC. They beat us when I was at Brooklyn, and this was the first time that we actually got a win against one of his teams. But he hit three threes in a row, like legit three threes. I think we were down one at the time. Yeah, the coach called timeout. He was like, "Ant, I'm calling the play for you." I said, "All right, cool, no problem. Like I'm ready. Like this is the moment I've been waiting for." My brother was on the sideline. My mom was on the sideline. Got the ball, brought it up, passed it to Mike. I got the off ball screen from Noah on the right corner. Mike passed me the ball. I'm like, yeah, this is going in. Shot it, and then that put the icing on the cake, honestly, for the game. The crowd was going crazy. Baruch called a timeout, and my team never looked back from there. Coach subbed me out. I think like the last minute of the game just to get like offense defense in. And then after a while, he was about to sub me in again. I'm like, Coach, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at right now. Let me just take this moment in. Beating Baruch, honestly, was like, it was on my bucket list for the season because I remember the feeling of losing to them my junior year at Brooklyn. So I knew I wanted to beat them again. And when that buzzer went off, Mr. Kelly, it felt like BMCC all over again. Like it was the best feeling that I've had in a while.
I want to talk about both coaches because you brought that up to us,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. So Jeffrey Jean Baptiste, Tommy Guerin, both of which promote family-oriented environments. Give me one other positive trait on each one that you saw during your time playing for both coaches.
Coach G, I want to say Coach G brought the toughness out of me. Whether he knew it or not, Coach G brought the toughness out of me because Coach G and I bumped heads only because I wasn't mature enough to understand that he just wanted the best for me at the time when I was his player. So he would yell at me for somebody else's mistake because I was a starting point guard. Because if I had the ball in my hand, then they would have made that mistake. But back then, I'm looking at it as, why are you yelling at me if it's the one that made the mistake? But as you get older and as you mature up to understand that as a starting guard, you're the coach on the floor, you just start to appreciate people way more. And Coach G, toughness is the word for Coach G. And I've always told people that he brought that out of me. Whether he knew it or not, he brought that out of me. As far as Coach Jeff, I want to say Coach Jeff, it got to be loving, honestly, loving. Because he and positivity. Like Coach Jeff never brought any negative energy into practice. Even when we were 1-10, even when I was shooting 19% from three, he always preached, "It's all right. That game is over with. Let's worry about the next game. Let's worry about what we're gonna do tomorrow in practice. Let's worry about why you're shooting 19% is because you're in your head too much, Ant." And I say loving because he was one of those coaches where he didn't just do his job. You know what I mean? Like he and not a lot of athletes can say that because a lot of coaches just do their job. And I was blessed enough to have Coach Jeff because he made sure after practice he would call me, even if it was at 10 o'clock. Yo, Ant, did you get home safe? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, coach. And it was weird to me because I never had that happen before. But I got used to it because he's a loving person. That's just the type of person he was. And it made me want to play hard every single game. Like, even if I did not feel well, I wanted to play 100% because he always gave me 100%. He never gave me 90. He always told me things that I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. Like, he didn't tell me, "Oh, Anthony, you're one of the best shooters ever." He said, "Ant, you need to work hard so that you can be one of the best shooters that ever stepped into the gym." Like, he always kept it real with me. So Coach G and Coach Jeff, they honestly kind of have the same similar traits: loving, caring, tough. So like I was blessed to have those type of coaches in my life.
Here in our eighth installment of Inside the Lair with one of the toughest sixth men in BMCC basketball history, Anthony McClean. My final question to you here. What are you doing here in your professional career?
As far as my career right now, I am a coach at BMCC, assistant coach. We don't have a season right now, but it was a beautiful thing seeing Coach G text me like, "Yo, I want to get this kid to the school, this, that, and the third. Can you speak to him for me?" And me speaking to the kids, it was a great feeling because I know what I needed a college coach to say to me as when I was coming out of high school. I needed them to be real. I needed them to be authentic. And most of the times, 9 times out of 10, when I was recruiting these kids to come to the school, I wasn't even talking basketball. And I feel like that's what really made the connection between us, because I spoke about school, I spoke about their future, I spoke about the things that they love, I spoke about family, I spoke about the things that motivate them, and then I spoke about basketball. So it wasn't just, oh, I want you to come here and play for me to make my resume look good. I really want you to come here to grow into the man that I know you can be. So as far as my career, that's legit all I want to do. I just want to help the younger generation. I want to be that figure. I want to be the LeBron James of Brooklyn. Like, that's what I want.
Thank you so much for joining us. Really, it was a pleasure to hear from you. Great stuff, Anthony.
Anytime, if you need me again, just let me know, bro. I'm here.